Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Marvel Studios assembled Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That's a very long name. But this is a documentary series. It's another episode in the documentary series of Marvel Studios productions, the behind-the-scenes documentaries. This one's 57 minutes long. It's from 2023, of course. Came out last year. And it features James Gunn and his gang of misfits, outer space misfits, just sort of reflecting back on everything that's gone on. It's important because this is the end of a trilogy. It's not just, hey, let's look at how they made the costumes, look at how they told the story, and let's look at character development and how they built the sets and all that stuff. It is definitely has all of those aspects to it, all those different facets, but this is also a fairly emotional one, much like the film itself. It's a fairly emotional situation as everybody sort of talks about each other, about working with each other, and how it is impacting them as it comes to an end. For many of them, it is the last time that they will probably play these characters, at least as far as they know, as far as they intend at this point. There could be a point somewhere a decade from now where somebody goes, hey, could you paint yourself green again and play Gamora? Could you put on the antenna and play Mantis? And so far at this point, no, they're not going to do that. But as we often see, people come back. We got Toby and Andrew coming back and playing Spider-Man with Tom Holland. We have Michael Keaton come back and play both Batman recently, and he's going to be playing later this year Beetlejuice. So yeah, there's always a no, but a no is the first step to a negotiation that will get them back in the costume at some point. Maybe. It doesn't mean it will. So yeah, but in this case, everybody is very much at the point of saying, hey, I hate that this is ending. I can't believe that we have, that we have only a week to go or a day to go. This is my last day on the set, but they're like, I want it to last longer. So there's a lot of reflection, a lot of emotional bits, and you also see things, scenes of them from the very first film, the second film, and some of them have played these characters for 6 films. Of course, bits throughout the Avengers films that led to this, and the holiday special that the Guardians did on Disney Plus last year, maybe more than a year ago, end of 22. So yeah, you get to see a lot of pretty fantastic stuff. Little bits. I mean, honestly, there's so many. To me, this is probably one of the, if not one of the best, but the best series of films, trilogy of films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, only because the expectations for it were so low. Like, hardly anybody knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were. I collected the comics in the 90s, and that is a completely different team than what we got here. There's been different eras of Guardians of the Galaxy, and even then, I was just like, okay, you're going to get Yondu and why couldn't I remember the name of the guy with the crystals, which was played by Michael Rosenbaum, who was also Lex Luthor on Smallville. But there's also different characters, like Star-Lord wasn't even in it. Rocket Raccoon was not in the Guardians that I knew as I was collecting comics in the 90s with that title on the page, on the cover. So when I heard that, oh, this one's going to have a talking tree and a talking raccoon, there's no reason why any movie like this should have succeeded 3 times. 3 times. At some point, most people making these types of films run out of gas or sort of just limp to the finish line. That's not the case. I have stories from friends of mine who told me over this holiday when I was hanging out with them about their experience going to see different films over the past year since I had last seen them, and their experience of seeing Guardians and just weeping openly. And yeah, no, I mean, it's an emotional ride. I made a point to some other friends online that, you know what, 2023 gave us a film that made us cry over a raccoon, a talking space raccoon. It made us cry over a talking space raccoon. So 2024 has a pretty high bar to beat. Kind of a big deal. So I love these documentary types things. It's usually like with Snow Buddies. I'll put that on in the background. I'll do my other stuff, be pretty absorbed in that, and I can get the gist of Snow Buddies, like yesterday. But in this case, I'm completely laser focused because I want to see. I love behind the scenes set. Talk about how they built the sets, how it all connects together, how it's realistic. Nowhere it looks like a real city. The High Evolutionary's base and everything, where he does his experiments and everything else. Those set pieces normally are just, separate things in a studio somewhere, in a big barn in a sense. But in this case, the rooms were all connected, and to me that's fascinating. Just the costume stuff, the all practical alien creature makeup, the human animal hybrids that the Evolutionary made, all these things, fantastic. But some of the most fun parts is just seeing how the cast talks about each other, how they care about each other, and how beyond just the fact that a movie about a talking tree and a talking raccoon in space should not have worked, this almost didn't happen. As we all know, there was a certain point in the last few years when James Gunn was taken off just kicked out of Marvel for things he had done more than 10 years before, or things he had said, and people got upset about it until Disney makes decisions and goes, no, we can't be associated with that. And meanwhile, everybody ignores everything else that people are actually doing in real time in front of us. But no, we're gonna complain about stuff that happened on Twitter 10 years ago. Eventually, thankfully, he was returned to his original position and was able to. And he makes a point of it. There's no mention of this directly in the documentary, but he does refer to it as something things that happened or kind of had to happen in order to hopefully make this a better movie. That it pushed everyone. A lot of these actors were not going to come back if James Gunn was not in the director's chair, the writer's chair. If he had not come back, we wouldn't have gotten a third Guardians of the Galaxy. Not with the actors that we know. And if we had, they would have gotten a pile of money to coerce them to join the cast. But I think it would have been less inspired, and it would have kind of been, that was done. Now we can move on. I can't imagine a third film without James Gunn, and it shows what we got in the final product. And it shows the heart and soul and the mind and the insanity that goes on behind the scenes that made this movie possible. So like I said, these are the kind of things that I love watching. I get absorbed in them, just all the little nuances. I want to walk through those sets. I want to go to Atlanta, to the Pinewood Studios there, and I don't want to know the spoilers. I'll cover my ears as much as I can about spoilers when it comes to any studio stuff. I don't want to talk about spoilers. I don't want to tell anybody that I know anything. I don't want to learn about them. I once almost got a chance to go to London for this to cover Thor 2 many years ago. It didn't happen. I didn't have a passport soon enough. But part of me was like, I'm kind of glad I didn't go, not because it wasn't a great movie, but because it was, I don't like to be spoiled by these things. I want to experience it in the theaters. Unless I'm making it, unless I'm somehow in it, I don't want to be part of it. I don't want to be spoiled in it. And I think hopefully in some situations when you have media show up for things like that, and sure they sign all the NDAs, that they don't let them see important shooting days of, crux moments in the story. So, yeah. I imagine that if I would have gotten a chance to just walk around nowhere and walk around and maybe meet some of the actors, I would have gotten on a day when they were just like punching stuff, or people doing wire rigging and not acting, well, it's all acting, but the big crux moments. So that would have been ideal. So if you're thinking about having me come to your set, please invite me on a day that nothing important is happening, and I will just happily stand there and just go have fun. And I will tell people about my experience, because that's what I would do as media, but also I'd not tell anybody the important stuff just to get clicks. So yeah, it's again, when it comes to all these things, the Marvel behind the scenes stuff, especially for movies that I love, and especially for, normally sometimes when you get some of these documentaries, you get a few interview bits from the actors here and there, and it's mostly somebody doing a narration that was like the third tier actor on the set, and they're just talking about stuff that happened, and there's barely any footage with the main actors, the director, the people who were created things, beyond like, costume design or set design, things like that, which are all incredibly important. But this one, it's very involved with everybody. So you get to hear from everybody in the cast. Kevin Feige shows up for like 1 minute. Yeah, he's damn important, but he is just sort of like, hey, this is what we had, this is what we're thinking. And then it's James Gunn and the gang all just talking to the camera. After the fact, there's some funny stuff going on during shooting, and you get to see all that stuff. It's fantastic. Take your time. If you don't even really like these kind of documentary things, but you really like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and all the Guardians films, check this out. Seriously, just watch it. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Let's pick tomorrow's episode. 22. Did it again. I should have known this, considering that we just watched a Marvel thing. But tomorrow is Wednesday, and tomorrow is the premiere of The Marvels on Disney+. So, tonight at midnight, or whatever time they decide to premiere it, I don't know. I'm going to be watching The Marvels, and right afterwards, I'm going to come and talk to you about it. That number 22, well, I don't know what it is yet, but that is what I'll be watching the day after The Marvels. We'll take it from there. So, whatever 22 was, I am curious. I'm going to check after I'm done with this, but whatever 22 is, 2 days from now. But next, probably for the next few hours, again, it'll be probably 2 o'clock in the morning when I start my next video. It'll be The Marvels from the Marvel Cinematic Universe on the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.